Hello everyone, my name is Misty Hayes. I'm an assistant professor here at Waters State in the Early Childhood Education Department. So I'm going to give you a course overview of the 2360 course, Development of Exceptional Children. So this course really is a study of practices in early childhood, but we're specifically focusing on inclusive childhood education for littles. So that's meaning birth to age 9. So some of the things we're going to be really focusing on is what kind of skills and strategies are you going to be able to have to support children who have exceptionalities and disabilities. So specifically, one of the things I want to focus on with you is the strong relationships with families and communities and how we advocate through those practices. Okay, so some of the course objectives are going to be these 5, and they are related to the NAEYC preparation standards. So the things that we're going to touch on is we're going to identify and reflect upon state and federal laws, legislation, regulations, when we're specifically talking about education of young children. The other outcome is really identifying the characteristics and classification of developmental delayed in early childhood. Also, identify recommended practices and strategies that require responsive teaching in inclusive environments. So that would include the use of technology, basically assistive technology, for inclusive environments. We're also going to describe the role, right, of what does authentic assessment mean and how does that play a role in your classrooms. And then lastly, again, touching on that collaboration, right? So we're going to be able to recognize the importance of collaborating not only with family, but other professionals in our community. So some of the course topics that we're going to be talking about is going to be defining what those disabilities are, right? So the physical, the sensory, defining inclusion, what that is. Also, some of those learning and behavioral disorders. We're also going to be looking at partnerships with family and the assessment process, meaning how are we going to develop individual plans, but also family plans. So looking at the IFSP and the IEP process, as well as looking at universal design for learning. So what are those transition plans that we're going to set up? What are those embedded opportunities for those children in the daily classroom? We're also going to look at what are some of those skills to make them more independent, right? And then looking at some of those challenging behaviors as well as self-care. So there are 2 main projects in this course. So one of the projects is called case study. So this is where you're going to take a case study child that you will work with the entire semester. So you are going to be developing research on that child's disability and creating a PowerPoint. So that PowerPoint is going to talk about defining the disability. What are some recommended strategies? What are some characteristics? Also looking at what are some environmental adaptations that you can make, as well as a plan for that student. The transition plan will be your next part of the project. So how do we set it up where we are having that child transition into your room so you can support them? We will look at behavior intervention plan as well as embedded instruction. And we will look at individual lesson plans, specifically tailored on the IFSP. And then really, what is the reflection? The reflection is a huge part because we're talking about what did you gain from working with this project and what did you get out of it?